Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about an upcoming smaller system. I'll still call it a snowstorm, as the snowfall amounts will be pretty intense with it, reaching up to half a foot in some locations, and actually quite a few locations. I think there may be some winter storm warnings issued. Right now, there's just some winter weather advisories for the Wisconsin and Michigan area. That's where most of the snow will fall, and into Minnesota as well. So this one's going to be a smaller one again, not a big one, but that is perfectly fine. As it looks as of next week on Monday, there could be some big brewing storms, and we'll just have to monitor that. So if you like this channel, guys, check out, if you're new to this channel, check out my other videos, see for yourself if it's worthy of a subscription. If you're a consistent viewer, you like these videos, consider liking the videos. That always helps out a ton, so that would be amazing. Right now we're looking at the GFS model. GFS is a global forecasting system, and also known as a kind of the American model, the US model, and let's use it first, and then I'll show you the European side of things and see how the two models differ for this upcoming storm system across the country. So notice that right now there's some energy across Colorado, Wyoming, and into into central North Dakota. And this really just gets kind of combined by this low pressure that sits here across Oklahoma, but that won't really become the parent low pressure, as a new one will form across Wisconsin. This one just kind of is there, gets enough power to drag up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and that connects with the northern piece of the energy, which then in turn leads to a really good dose of precipitation. You can see right there, pretty heavy stuff. The thing that'll keep this limited from becoming too big of an event is probably the speed of it. It's relatively quick. You can see probably the heaviest amounts in northern Michigan and into eastern Wisconsin, around Green Bay, those areas. Notice it stretches out a fairly long storm right here across a fairly long cold front across the south. You can see into Georgia and into Alabama and Mississippi and into North Carolina, Tennessee. All those areas could be seeing some rain, and that continues. There were earlier some indications by the models earlier back several days ago that maybe a storm could occur from one of this, from this stalled cold front. Maybe a storm would be able to spawn, right? Well, now looking at this, we don't really see much. We see it kind of go up, and really, I don't know if the ingredients are there. I mean, if it's a little bit further to the north, that would be, that could definitely happen, but none of the models really hinting at that. So we'll have to wait and see, but it doesn't seem likely. Now let's look at the future. So during that time frame, right after this big storm, or just a storm system, we see a relatively cold air mass. And if we were to look at the temperature anomalies, it gets pretty darn chilly, especially across upper Midwest. Some negative numbers are going to be likely. Again, you could see -10, -9, and this moves down further south. Not as big as the one we had, but definitely creates an impact. Freezing temperatures down into the Tennessee, the Ozarks, all those locations. So now let's move into the future. This is now towards the end of the week, Saturday, Sunday. We start seeing a very large system come on shore off California, has a lot of precipitation, and this one could be a beast, a monster. There could be a set of low pressures. You can see one right there, another one possibly developing right here. So we'll have to definitely monitor this, but as of now, that's still very far out. But all the models are agreeing on that, so that would be very interesting to see how that all plays out. But again, this storm right here, not that significant. If we were to look at the total snowfall accumulations, they're really quite miserable. I mean, they're definitely impactful. You can see 4 to 6 inches on some locations. General though, 2 to 5 inches. Not much more is going to be expected, that's why I think if any winter storm warnings are going to be issued, they are going to be limited. Other than that, very heavy rain possibly for the southeast, and if you recall, there's been very heavy rain across the south, and if you live in the south, you know that there's been heavy rain in your location. So more heavy rain is not going to be good for you, but that's exactly what's in the forecast for you guys. So sorry to disappoint you. No snow really in the forecast, mainly rain for the south, and that seems typical. Now we're getting into Now we're getting into mid February, getting towards racing towards the latter parts of February. Okay, so it will definitely, the months or the days will start getting warmer, and snowstorms will be harder and harder to come by. We just may start soon seeing spring, especially with that lack of cold air, which some models are indicating. However, not all looks too warm. Up until, I would say, mid-March, it looks pretty darn chilly, so we could definitely see quite a bit of snowstorms in that time. Let's look at the Canadian model, the CMC, Canadian Meteorological Center, and notice that it puts out this storm system across the U.S. Again, that's the one we talk about. Michigan, Wisconsin, seeing quite a bit of snow. We're unfortunately Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, not seeing much out of this. The Northeast may see a thud of snow out of this. Nothing too impactful. You can see that the Canadian shows more cold air, allowing more snow possibly across the Texas, Oklahoma area. That could be something we'll have to monitor. And you can see it kind of has a little bit of snow across the Carolinas and South Carolina on Friday. So this is definitely still something we have to watch. But I'll update you as we get further towards that. You can see we move towards February 25th, 26th, early next week. So a week from today, we could be looking at just this ginormous system, which is a hybrid-like system, just loads of moisture. And I'm actually getting pretty excited just looking at this. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks as if the northern plains at this point would get the snow, and the rainy side would be, anywhere southeast of that, though that could definitely change, as this storm may not even happen at all. But again, all three models are showing a large system. Obviously, details, timings, that's all a mess still. Sorry about that. Let's focus on the short range, smaller system that's going to be occurring tomorrow a little bit more. And let's look at the NAM12KM. This is a North American model. It focuses on high resolution, more accurate. Though the big error of this model is it has a cold bias, so it shows usually colder than it actually is. That's really bad when it comes to rain snow scenario. But in this case, it really seems like the thermal profiles won't be really, sleet, rain. It will be just either rain or either snow. It may put a little bit more snow down to the south, across maybe a couple miles to the south in Nam than it really will be. But overall, it does a pretty good job. And it's agreeing with the other models. So let's look at this again. We have that energy. You can see it comes together very rapidly, but that's why it's going to be weak when it's across the U.S. It will be a bit stronger once it moves across Canada. Still not a giant. And notice that as we move this into Iowa, Wisconsin, we see some heavier snow forming. Again, this low pressure brings this moisture up here. And notice that it actually brings quite a bit of snow, some heavier precipitation rates. Again, keeping this limited as it's very quick moving. But then look, the NAM also puts out some heavy snow across Kansas and Nebraska, so we will definitely have to monitor that. But let's look at the total snowfall from that storm. You can see it's actually showing up to 6 inches pretty generously. You can see in those pockets right there. So tough to say. The National Weather Service is more leaning towards the heavier amounts based on what the models are showing. It looks something more what the NAM12KM is showing. So that is definitely something I want to point out. And speaking of the National Weather Service, let's look at what they're showing. So as of right now, there's winter weather advisories across southwestern Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and northeastern Iowa. And let's click. That's basically the La Crosse Weather Service. I'm sure they will issue more into Michigan and Green Bay area. But notice right now you can see heavy bulk snowfall. The bulk of the snow falling into afternoon and evening hours. Again, this won't be huge amounts, but you can see 3 to 5 inches across Wisconsin Dells, Toma, I think that's how you say it, Tama, La Crosse, Winona, Black River Falls, maybe seeing more like a 2 to 4 inch amount. And then as you get towards Rochester, Washeba, Wabasha, Red Wing, you get 1 to 3 inches. So now let's look towards the Green Bay Weather Office. Right now, I don't think they're not under a winter weather advisory. They might be soon though. I'm assuming that that's enough for a winter weather advisory at least. For most locations south of that would be a winter storm warning. You can see 4 to 6 inches across the generous area mainly to the north and west of Green Bay, though Green Bay getting on at 3 to 5 inches. So some generous amounts you can see, but it's a quick drop off to the south with 1 to 3 by Manitowac. and that the further south you get towards Milwaukee, it seems like there will be less and less snow. Now let's look at northern Michigan, again a little bit further out, and they probably will issue their winter weather advisories later because of that, because it's further out. And you can see parts of the UP Peninsula could get up to a foot of snow. They're indicating right there by Sault Ste. Marie, Drummond Island. That's by the Canadian border right there. They could see up to, they could see up to a foot. So, but generally you could see northern Michigan, Gaylord, Rogers City, Alpena, Traverse City. They're saying mainly 3 to 5, maybe some pockets of 4 to 6. So that is that. And again, they have it right here pretty much pointed out. A small storm. It's really small, but it's going to be falling rapidly and heavily, so it's well worth of a video in my opinion. And again, I will be keeping track of that system in Texas, as that seems to be concerning as well. You can see lights. Well, they're talking about Tuesday morning, and you can see there's another chance for Wednesday night and Thursday right there. So we'll have to see about that. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.